What's going on, CUSE Nation? Welcome to yet another episode of Orange Heat. My name's Giovanni Heater, as always, and I want to thank you so much for joining me. Thank you guys so much for the support, guys. We're back with the videos. I know that's what everybody's been wanting. Everybody's been talking to me about that. I put a poll up on Twitter, and that was the final verdict. Everyone wants to see my face and me talking with the videos for Orange Heat. We tested out the podcast for a few episodes. I just wanted to see how it went, where I could go with it. There's a lot more I can do as far as the microphones and the technology aspect of it. So it was kind of fun, but clearly people want to see me in front of the camera talking. So guys, that's what we're going to do for now. Orange Heat is going to be a video-based show. That's my final verdict as of right now. So welcome. Welcome, and I want to thank you guys for joining me. As always, the Twitter, guys. The Twitter has been flowing. Thank you so much for that. I'm getting more likes. I'm getting more comments. I'm getting more feedback on the polls, and that's a huge in part to the CUSE Militia podcast. They've been retweeting a bunch of my stuff, really helping me out there. But, guys, go hit that up, at GeoHeater. I'm doing a ton of Syracuse Orange stuff on there. Get active on there. Let it all come together. It's just going to make the show even better, so hop on there. Tonight, we got a pretty good show for you. We're going to talk some Syracuse football and the whole bowl game situation. Extremely excited about that, as I'm sure many of you are. Then we're going to dive right into Syracuse basketball. The rough win over Cornell. We're going to do a nice preview of Northeastern. We're going to talk about basketball as whole for a little bit, and then that's going to be all we're going to have until the next episode. So buckle up, because we're about to have a good one as always. We don't disappoint here on Orange Heat. Diving right into it, Syracuse University. Yes, the Syracuse Orange football team is heading to the Camping World Bowl on December 28th at 5:15 p.m. That's going to be televised on ESPN. The game's played in Orlando, Florida, and guys, guess who we're playing? Arch rival from the Big East Conference, West Virginia Mountaineers. Huge game, huge matchup. West Virginia is a very stellar offensive team led by quarterback Will Grier. They have some really stout receivers. They have a pretty decent defense as well. They were a clear competitive team in the Big 12. Guys, just a few weeks ago, this was a team that had a shot at the college football playoffs. Now, they dropped 2 games in a row. One of those games being, I believe, to Oklahoma, and the other being to, I want to say, Texas. Don't quote me on that. But this is a very good football team. They're ranked 16th in the country as of right now in the final college football playoff rankings. We're ranked 20th. Big showdown, a good rivalry game. I did get word, though, thanks to Nate Mink at Syracuse.com. We will not be playing for the Schwartzwalder Trophy. Why? I'm not exactly sure. Might be a whole bowl game situation. They're not allowed to do that. Not exactly sure with that. Nonetheless, extremely excited. Good old rivalry game for our biggest bowl game in a long time. Syracuse heading into this game at 9-3, the best since 2001, quite frankly. And as Dino Babers touched upon, we have a chance to win 10 football games this season. That's huge. There's a big difference between winning 9 football games and winning 10 football games. And hopefully we're going to be able to get over that hump. Regardless, this season has been a ginormous success. You can't say enough about the heart, the leadership, and how this team has really come together under head coach Dino Babers. But the future is so bright. I'm really, really excited to see what we're going to do against West Virginia. And this is just a big opportunity. I'm proud of this football team. Eric Dungy, Dino Babers done a great job getting everybody together. And I think the biggest thing about this bowl game, win or lose, is the fact that this team's going to be together for an extra 2 or 3 weeks. You get 15 extra practices. Now, Dino Babers said in his press conference following the game, that's like a second spring. You're allotted 15 practices in the spring for your football team. You basically just got a whole second spring, but it's coming right before the bowl game. So that's going to be time not only to prepare. He said they're going to prepare first and foremost to beat a very good West Virginia football team. But secondly, this is a huge opportunity to really, really see the young underbelly of this football team come together. Players like Tommy DeVito, players freshmen. Everything's going to really tie in together. And we're not only going to see the end of the 2018 season wrap up with a huge finish, but we're also going to see a nice glimpse of what's to come in the 2019 Syracuse Orange football season. And guys, we're not just a basketball school anymore. We're a football school now. And we need to live up to that. We need to have another big year next year. We're going to do a whole preview and everything on West Virginia. We're going to go all out for this bowl game. I might do a couple episodes on it and really go hugely in depth. Might have a guest on the show. You never know. But I plan on going all out with that. But just really exciting. We can definitely get into it more later on. Hugely exciting. They had Dino Babers on the ESPN selection show for the college football playoffs and all the bowl games. So that was really, really cool. He was on there for about 10 minutes being interviewed by, it was either Reese Davis or Chris Fowler. I don't remember which one it was. But one of those two had a great interview on Dino Babers. Exciting stuff there. We're getting the exposure, guys. We're putting ourselves on the map. So I'm seriously, seriously excited. Turning over to basketball. Now, this isn't going to be as fun of a conversation, but we're going to do the best that we can. Syracuse basketball defeated Cornell 63-55 on Saturday night. That was in the Carrier Dome. It was a late game. Guys, it was ugly. That's the best way to sum it up. It was an ugly basketball game. I actually ended up going to the game. I have never had less fun at the Carrier Dome. I don't know if it was because I was tired. It was an 8 o'clock game. I had a long day and a long night the night before. But guys, I have never not enjoyed myself at the Dome. And not that I didn't enjoy myself, but I was sitting there actually angry at how bad I thought our performance was, how poorly we really played. Every time a shot went out, it's like, oh, come on. Every time Pascal Chukwu missed like 3 dunks. He's yet to dunk it so far this season, by the way. So just nothing really seemed to come into sync. Nothing really clicked right. And I got to tell you, I did more yelling and frustration than I did cheering in that game. So it was fun to be there, but it wasn't the best experience as far as the game goes. O'Shea Brissett and Tyus Battle really did everything in this basketball game. And in my opinion, guys, that shouldn't have to happen. Last year, it was understandable because you needed it to happen. Last year, those were your two guys. There wasn't as much depth. There weren't as many scorers on the floor. And those two, along with Frank Howard at times, really had to do it all. But this season, that shouldn't be the story. That shouldn't have to happen. Yes, they're two very good players, and I think they're used to having to really carry the load, the shoulders of this basketball team, but we don't want that to happen, guys. We have an Elijah Hughes that can score. We have a Jalen Carey that showed he's very capable of scoring the basketball. Buddy Boeheim, he has a decent stroke. He's not getting the same minutes and everything, which we will get into later on, but long story short, I don't want to see the O'Shea Brissett and Tyus Battle show. I'd much rather see everything move around because the other guys really didn't play good. Yes, we know that they're capable of carrying the load when needed, but I don't want them to have to carry the load this season. I feel like that's not what should have to happen, if you catch my drift a little bit there. As I said, Tyus Battle, 26 points. He was 4 for 6 from three-point land, and he also went 10 for 17 from the field as a whole. So very good game scoring out of him. Not going to complain there. He played good basketball, putting up 26 points. I believe that's his season high thus far. He's averaging about 20 right now points per game, so he's starting to live up to that preseason All-American expectation that was really risen, and I think that's because he's been able to come into fruition with the shooting guard position now that Frank Howard is back in the lineup. I think everything's starting to click a little bit more for him because I was worried. I was a little bit worried about Tyus later on this season. He wasn't living up to the hype that I was expecting out of this year, but he played pretty well against Cornell the other night. O'Shea Brissett also got some work inside. He played all 40 minutes in this contest. He was the only player to do so. He put up 19 points, 8 rebounds, and he went 2 for 3 from the three-point arc. He was also 5 for 8 from the field as a whole. He went 7 for 11 from the free throw line, the charity stripe. So that's saying something. He's not just taking those unreasonable jumpers he was taking earlier on with Frank in. As I expected, he was able to drive in, get more of a paint presence going, and he went to the free throw line for 11 shots, guys. So that's clear production there. He's getting into the paint. He's putting himself at the line, and guys, that's where he plays his best basketball. That's where you want O'Shea Brissett to be playing, is on the interior, getting himself up, getting himself to the free throw line. That's where we've really seen him develop as a player and play his best basketball. And I think that's what's going to get him to the next level if he gets there. Frank Howard, he did start at point guard, played most of the game. He only got 3 points. All of his shots were 3-point attempts. 1 for 7, guys. He shot 7 of them and only made 1. And it's a little bit disappointing. He's working into his stroke. He didn't have as many practices with the other guys, didn't really mesh with the team as well as the other guys. It's going to come. I'm not worried, but a little bit alarming when he's not seeing it against a team like Cornell especially. He had a clear height advantage against their point guard, Matt Morgan. Not exactly sure what went on there. I think the biggest surprise to me of the night was Elijah Hughes, guys. Elijah Hughes just put up 4 points. That's it, 4 points. When you think against Ohio State, he played like a monster. I believe he put up 18 points in that contest. He's been our most consistent scorer so far this season, in my opinion. He's been the most reliable. He can hit the three. He can drive inside. He can hit the mid-range jumper. He's really a jack of all trades. He plays some great defense, blocking the ball away with his long arms. Not really sure what happened here tonight, guys. He only took 3 shots. That's it. And that really explains his 4 points. He didn't get as much playing time because Boeheim did take him out due to his poor performance. And just disappointing. I expect more out of him. I mean, everyone's going to have a bad game. Everyone's going to have a rough game. But this was a little bit alarming in my opinion. Guys, what is going on the interior? Both of our centers are just not performing well. Pascal Chukwu and Barama Sidibe, guys. It's looking very, very... It's just looking bad. That's all I don't even know another way to word it. It's just poor production on the inside. Pascal Chukwu, I hate to say this. I had high expectations when I first heard we were going to have a 7-2 center years back. And I've been thoroughly disappointed, guy. I think he is awful. And I never get on our team like that, but I think Pascal Chukwu is, for lack of a better term, is just awful. I think he's the worst 7'2" basketball player in Division I. He has to be. He put on muscle over the summer, and I don't even see him using it. I see it on his arms. He's as the kids at my school would say, he's swole all of a sudden, but it's not showing on the basketball court. He's averaging about 2 points a game. He's getting absolutely bullied on the inside by guys that are shorter than him and smaller than him. He's just not there. He's yet to dunk the ball. If I were 7'2", I'd try and dunk the ball every time I had the ball in my hands because you can, quite frankly. And he just hasn't done that. Against Cornell, he had an alley-oop, missed it, rim stuffed. He went up for one by himself, missed it, rim stuffed. I think he went and missed one more. I don't understand how that even happens. I just don't think he's playing his best defense. He should be blocking a lot more shots. He's got shots. He's got to close out sooner. He needs to develop an offensive presence, go up over people, a little bit of a more post movement, develop some kind of a very short range shot. Because he's not, even the layups aren't falling for him, guys, and it's really, really disappointing. Merrick Dolezaj, first, before I talk about Merrick, we'll touch on Barama Sidibe as well. Barama, really not much out of him either. I expected more with a healthy knee. He did drop a double-double in 2 games ago against Colgate when Pascal went out with that minor leg injury. So you see glimpses, but we need more. We need more. It feels like there's just 2 guys standing out there. Whichever one of them's in, it feels like there's just a guy standing out there, and we need him to have production. We need them to play well. The center is such a crucial aspect of a basketball team, and it's been disappointing. Now, As I said, Marek Dolezaj played very tough, as always. It's always expected out of the Slovakian hammer. He's not getting many minutes. He got a lot of minutes this game because Elijah Hughes wasn't out there and because he was playing poor himself. But he's just not getting many minutes as a whole. I think that's a whole confidence struggle, possibly. We see shot confidence out of him. He's taking some threes and without even thinking about it, without hesitating, and he's actually making them, which is awesome. He's developing a jump shot. But then there's sometimes he does wide open and he'll pass it off and not take the shot, and the Carrier Dome crowd even gasps at it. It's a little bit surprising. I think also it could be a confidence struggle in having to start out of a step out of a starting role. Last season, he was a crucial part of this basketball team, especially towards the end of the season. He was the starting forward along with O'Shea Brissett. He was playing most of every single game, and he's really had to step back this year. Elijah Hughes has been that man, and Marek has had to come off of the bench, not getting as many minutes, not getting as much opportunity there. So he may be a little disappointed there in that regard. Just a little interesting thought there, just little food for the brain, as they say. Jalen Carey just played 7 minutes here tonight. Boeheim only played 5 minutes. He went 1 for 2 from the field, and he did score 3 points. That one shot was a three-pointer. It's kind of cool to see him match up with his brother. The 3 Boeheims on the court. The Boeheim versus Boeheim game. It's just it's a cool thing. Their mother was obviously very proud, very excited. I'm sure Coach Jim was as well. He doesn't like to show it as much, but it was definitely cool to see. The Dome was cheering for both, especially Buddy, but even when Jimmy would do something good too, and as we'll get into a minute, he did some very, very good things. He impressed me, matter of fact. Getting into Cornell played out of their mind. I mean, kudos to Cornell. They put up the best game I think they have all season. Senior guard Matt Morgan matched Tyus Battle's 26 points. He went 6 for 10 from the three-point arc, which is really impressive. He hit some ridiculous three-pointers. When I say ridiculous, I mean ridiculous. I was very, very impressed with guard Matt Morgan. He played out of his mind. As I said, he really could do it all. He drove a couple times. He hit some really nice jump shots. He's got a very pretty stroke. Contested ones, fading away and everything. So I was impressed with him a lot. I know that last season he tested the waters with the NBA, similar to how Tyus Battle did without an agent. He decided to return back to Cornell, obviously the smart move. This year, you might see this man in the draft. Coming out of Cornell, you may see him in the NBA draft this upcoming season. So, exciting there. Cornell's got a good one. To touch upon Jimmy Boeheim, the son of our legendary coach, he looked pretty decent out there. I'm not going to lie. I was impressed, as I said. He played 27 minutes, a little bit more playing time than he typically gets. He put up 9 points. He put up 4 assists, and he came down with 6 rebounds as well. He just had a very good court presence. He was playing great defense, a lot of tipped passes, a lot of assists. So, Jimmy Boeheim looked very, very, very crisp out there the other night. Maybe it was just comforting in the Dome. Maybe he was excited for the challenge, playing against the team he grew up loving, the team that his father is the coach of. Not sure, but it was really, really cool to see. Much better than last season, I think, as well. I think he's improved his game as well, which is expected. Coach Boeheim, to wrap everything really up with this whole game here, Coach Boeheim said that we played, and I quote, this is exactly what he said in his press conference, we played with a horrendous effort. That's what he said. We just looked out of sync the entire night. Nothing really came together. I was hoping, there was a point where we started to pull away a little bit, and I said, okay, this is like against Colgate. This is where it's going to happen. Here we're going to win by about 25, something like that. This is where it's going to happen. We're going to feel a little bit better walking out of the Dome tonight, and it never really happened. And that was in part to Matt Morgan. Man, we'd start to pull away a little bit, and then bang, they hit another deep three, and they bring themselves right back into the game. So that was in part to that. The Cornell team was very excited. Their bench was very excited. It was cool to see, but we just looked out of sync the entire night. Guys, we only won the rebound battle by 1 rebound. It was 26-25. When you have that big of a height advantage, I don't want to ever be that close in the rebound category. We had such a height advantage on this team, it's not even funny. Pascal Chukwu can't pull down 5 rebounds. He just can't. He's 7'2". Okay, he's 7'2". You need more production on the boards. It was ridiculous. I mean, I know not as many rebound opportunities came up. Possessions were certainly longer. It was more of a defensive, low-scoring game. But you need more. You need to beat them in the rebound category by a large margin. There's just no way around that. We shot 50% as a team, so not terrible, and we shot 38% from 3 again. Not terrible. I mean, you got to think a week ago we were shooting 23% from the 3-point line. Last game we shot about, I want to say it was about 40 something against Ohio State. This week it was 38, so getting a lot better there. And just to touch upon that Ohio State game, this is just disappointing. I really thought we were going to carry some momentum. It's just disappointing to see this poor of a performance after such a dominant performance. Last week, this team looked like a national championship competitive type team in my spirit. That could be just because I'm a very biased fan here, but they looked very good and crisp defensively and offensively last week. Clearly didn't see it against Cornell here, so disappointing there. Our free throw percentage was only 61%. I mean, we could have won the game by so much more with that. If you take away a couple of Matt Morgan's ridiculous three-pointers and you add a couple of our free throws, we're not winning this game by just, let's see, what did we win by in the first place? We're not winning this game by just, let's see, we won 63-55. So we're not going to win this game by just 8. We're going to win this game closer to 15, 20 points if we can just drop some free throws. 61% is not good. Those are freebies. We got to drop those, man. We got to drop those. The defense just looked off. I don't think they're really, we got to use our length. Jim Boeheim recruits these really, really long guys. We've historically had some very tall teams so that we can play the 2-3 zone and get into passing lanes, and we didn't really do that as well as I would have liked to have seen the other night. Nonetheless, not to nitpick a ton, guys, a win is a win. That is what they say. We do improve to 5-2 on the season. A little bit of momentum carrying over. We have an easy game coming up next. And getting right into that, Syracuse Orange are going to be facing the Northeastern Huskies. That's going to be Tuesday night, tomorrow night, at 6:45 p.m. That's going to be televised streaming on the ACC network on the Watch ESPN app. I know I'll be watching for sure. Northeastern, to dive into them, they're really a team that's similar to Cornell in some regards. ESPN's giving us an 82.6% chance to win this contest. Northeastern's averaging about 74 points per game. That's compared to our 72, so they got us there. But again, the competition's not even comparable. They're allowing about 10 more points than us per contest. That's about 73 points a game compared to our 63. They have some decent wins here. They got a win over Harvard, which, okay. They have a win over Eastern Michigan, not a terrible team. We played them last season. A win over Bucknell, and this one gets me, guys. A win over Alabama. Alabama, I know they lost Colin Sexton and stuff, but they still have some good players carrying over from a successful season last year. So that was kind of interesting. And they didn't just beat them. They beat them by about 15 points or so. So that was a nice win on Northeastern's resume when you're talking about that. All right. Northeastern was also smacked twice by Davidson. Now, I don't know why, but they played Davidson back-to-back. Don't really know why it was scheduled that way. It was I kind of saw that, and I was like, is that right? But that is what happened. They were smacked by them both times. And they also lost by 28 points to Virginia Tech. Now, Virginia Tech's a very good team. They're nationally ranked in the ACC. They're going to be competitive this year, and that's just a good team right there. So that was kind of expected. I hope that we can do that and prove we can play at the caliber of Virginia Tech. But they did get smacked by a good Virginia Tech Hokies team. They have a pretty decent guard, Jordan Rowland. He's averaging about 16 points a game, and he's shooting 54% 54% from the field. God, I can't talk tonight. What's going on? They aren't really very productive on the boards. We have a clear height advantage in this game, as we usually do. As I said, Boeheim really recruits the tallest players he can get for every position. Their best rebounder is Donnell Gresham. Donnell Gresham Jr., he's a guard. He's averaging about 4 rebounds a game. And that's compared to our leading rebounder, O'Shea Brissett. He's averaging 8.5, almost 9 rebounds a game. So that's something to think about. First of all, a guard is their leading rebounder. And second of all, he's only getting 4 a game. So they're getting out-rebounded all over the place. And that's something that I think can help us out, guys. If we don't out-rebound them severely, I'm going to be really disappointed. We can't perform like we did against Cornell. We got to have a bounce back, you know. This really should be an easy win for Syracuse, looking at it on paper. But Cornell should have been as well, and we only won by 8. So we need to, in that Cornell game, within like 1 or 2 minutes, it was a one-possession ball game. So we need to come out hot. We need to shoot the ball well. We need to win the turnover and rebound battle as always. To be quite honest, this past game against Cornell really feels like a loss, and we need to bounce back. I even turned on the radio once I got in the car. Matt Park for Syracuse, the voice of the Orange, he did his post-game show, and he even said Syracuse falls to Cornell. Syracuse defeats Cornell, but it really does feel like a loss. It does. I agree with that 100%. It felt like a loss because of the way we performed. We should have beat that team by a lot more. It should have been easier. Shots should have fallen better. Everything should have been better. Okay? Give Cornell credit, but we did not play even close to our best basketball, and it's disappointing. I feel like Syracuse is a team we always stoop to the level of our opponent, or we play up to the level of our opponent, which is great when that happens. But when we stoop, that's where things fall apart, and it was just disappointing to see. We need a big bounce back. I was high and excited about this team after the Ohio State game, and I still am, but they have more to prove. They always have more to prove, but they have so much more to prove after that Cornell basketball game, so we need a big bounce back here. I'm excited to see what they're going to do tomorrow night, guys. We should smack this team. We really should, and I think we will. My prediction for this game is a Syracuse win, of course. I always predict Syracuse. Spoiler alert, that's always going to happen. 75-62. Here's why. I think offensive production is going to get a little bit better. We're going to see Elijah Hughes certainly performing at a higher level. I say 62. We're going to allow them to score a little bit. Defense has really got to get rolling. That's just the flow of the game. But I do think we're going to beat them by a decent 13-point margin. That's pretty fair. I'd like to see it be a lot more than that. I don't even know if we'll hit 75 the way we played against Cornell, but I'd like to see it a lot more than that. But that's my prediction. I hope they prove me wrong. I hope they smack them. I hope the final score is 80-something to 40 or 50-something, because that would really be a statement. To win a game by about 30 points would be huge. We need to dominate this team. We need to prove that we can play at such a high and competitive level. Guys, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming up on Orange Heat. As I said, we're going back to the video. I'm glad everybody's giving their feedback, and I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad you guys like to see me in front of the camera. I love being here. I just thought I'd give the other thing a try, and it really showed, because I was getting about 300 to 200 to 100 views of video when I was doing these videos. And when I started doing the podcast, I was getting literally 20 to 30, maybe 40 views an episode. And I was like, whoa, what just happened? And everyone on Twitter, it was a big win margin for the people that voted. They wanted to see the videos. A lot of family and friends I talked to wanted to see the videos. So here it is, guys. The videos are back, and that's all thanks to you. Thank you guys so much for all of the feedback. This show is growing. We're getting more people involved. More people are liking it. To throw it out there, I've been reached out to by a couple of different people. And now, I don't know if you guys know, just this was something that really meant a lot to me. It got me very excited, beyond excited. If you guys don't know Stephen Fonte, he's the head sports manager, and he's the head sports caster for News Channel 9. He travels. He's at every single Syracuse game, as well as high school sports in the area. He's a big name around Central New York. Um, and he personally DM'd me on Twitter, and I wasn't expecting this. It was out of the blue. He said, "Hey Giovanni, how are you? My name's Stephen Fonte. Obviously, my son showed me some of your videos. You're very talented. You have a bright future. You have a great voice for it. You know, you really know what you're talking about. Great delivery. Blah 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 blah." He told me if I ever need anything to just let him know. So that a lot of opportunities coming with that. I've had another Inside the Loud House, their head guy reached out to me. So exciting stuff. So guys, this show is growing. People are watching it. I walk through the hallways at school and they're like, "Hey, I watched Orange Heat last night. Great job." So people are loving it. And it's exciting, and I'm really excited about it. This is my biggest passion. You know, I had a great speech from my chorus teacher today, actually, in school. And she talked about how you got to find what you love, and you got to take that, and it's a gift. You got to find what you're gifted in, and you got to love it. And you got to take that, and you got to feed it, and you got to water it, and you got to care for it, and you got to love it, and you got to let it grow, because that talent or that gift can grow to the best of its potential. And that's what I'm trying to do here, guys. I love being a sports broadcaster. It's what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to go to Syracuse University, to Newhouse, the School of Journalism and Communications. They call it Sportscaster U. It's the best sports broadcasting program in the country. Huge names like Mike Tirico, Sean McDonough, Beth Mowins. The list goes on and on. Even newer guys coming out like Michael Tricarico coming from my high school. Beth Mowins went to my high school. A lot of big names coming out of there. I mean, you can go way back to even before Mike Tirico. So exciting stuff. That's my dream. That's the goal. And this is just the beginning. I'm only a sophomore, so I got years to go, and this show is building it. So please help me out. Show your friends, show your family, show the biggest Syracuse fans out there. We're getting it all going. We're talking Syracuse sports every day, as always, and that's why I started this. I love doing it. It's something I love. It's something I want to do for the rest of my life, but it was simple as this. I talk about this stuff. I have this conversation every day with like my dad or my friends at school or my teachers. And I said, why not make a show out about it, over it? I say this stuff every single day regardless. So make it happen. Put it into something that people can see. So thanks, as always, for all the feedback and watching and all of the support. Another thing is I'm trying to find my identity. I had a good conversation with actually former Syracuse defensive end Tyler Morona. I had a good conversation with him. He's got his own podcast going on, and he said, I got to find my identity. You know, nobody wants to come on here and just get a score update. Everybody knows the score. Everybody can see the stats. You want your opinion. His podcast perspective is he can look at the football team from a former player's perspective, which is really cool. He's been on the field. He's played Division I college football for Syracuse University in the ACC, so that was really cool to see. So I got to find where my fit is. I don't know. Maybe it's I'm unique because I'm so young. Maybe it's I live here, so I get to go to a lot of the games and experience it firsthand. Maybe it's whatever it is, we're trying to find it. And if you guys have suggestions, throw it out there. I'm still trying to find it. It could take years to develop. You never know. You got to find your voice. You got to find your identity, and you got to find what works best for you and what you love doing. So I'm certainly trying to figure that out, and it's an exciting and just energizing process. It's really something special. I want to throw this out there. Thank you, as always, to the CUSE Militia podcast, Sean and Joe. So much support out of them. They're retweeting my stuff, really promoting my show, getting it all going on. As I said, they had me on their show a few weeks ago, so if you haven't watched that, it's episode 99 for them. We talked some Boston College post-game for Syracuse, and we talked about Syracuse basketball. It was awesome. I was on there for almost an hour. It was a lot of fun. Those guys are hilarious. They do a great show, so go check them out, as always. That's all I got for today, guys. Add the Twitter, as always, at GeoHeater. Add the Instagram. You guys are the best Syracuse Orange fans out there. You're the best fans in the nation. Love you guys, as always. And that's all I got. Let's go Orange, baby. Woo!